Our public health dilemma is the health effects of adverse childhood experiences, specifically as it relates to the separation of immigrant families at the border. In 2018, there was a zero-tolerance policy implemented at the U.S.-Mexico border which led to the separation of families. Many of the children affected by this policy were placed in detention facilities.
In the field of public health, there are many ethical dilemmas regarding equity, prevention, and access to care. One of the ways to approach these dilemmas is through the STAR model. This acronym stands for Stop, Test, Act, and Reflect. STOP. STOP means to recognize, identify, and develop the public health dilemma.
Research was done on adverse childhood experiences by the CDC and Kaiser Permanente, which categorized experiences into abuse, neglect, and childhood dysfunction. Separating families from their parents could lead to these adverse childhood experiences, specifically physical neglect, emotional neglect, and childhood dysfunction. While this is still a relatively recent issue, a study concluded that these adverse childhood experiences lead to a toxic stress response in children, which can lead to other health problems such as an increased risk for heart disease, depression, obesity, and suicide. It has also been found that there is a 20-year life expectancy difference for children left untreated from adverse childhood experiences. The question is, does separating families at the border lead to a public health issue that is causing health effects on a child later in life?
The T in STAR stands for test. There are numerous tests that can be conducted in order to address if a public health dilemma is ethical, safe, and logical. The following tests are harm, legality, precedent, respect, golden rule, and peer test. The three that will be used to assess the effects of separating immigrant families are the harm test, legality, and golden rule test. The harm test can be described as doing the most good for the most people. In public health, it is important that we are administering to the public and not just individuals.
As it relates to adverse childhood experiences for separated immigrant families, many children will thrive best when they are in a loving, safe, and stable family. There is a chance that many children and families are coming to the United States because where they live is currently not safe. However, when the children are separated from their families, they are now not receiving love and care from their immediate family members. Constantly moving and being in different areas does not foster a stable environment, which could lead to more harm than good for the child's mental health later in life if they are not nurtured in a positive atmosphere as an adolescent.
Like all professionals, public health professionals are required to abide by the same legal standards and rules as the general public. The legality test asks questions as followed. Is it legal to do whatever is being proposed, or is it questionable? Is this overall illegal?
When the zero-tolerance policy was in place, families crossing the border had to be separated legally. However, after an executive order was signed to stop this, there are many instances now that still allow families to be separated. Some of these include if the parent is sick when they cross the border, if the parent has a criminal record, or if it is a distant relative instead of immediate family members accompanying the child. Many of these exceptions are subjective. It would not be enough basis to separate U.S.-born parents and children.
The golden rule test can be easily answered by asking this simple question. Would you enjoy this if you were in their shoes? Or as we all learned as a young child, do unto others as you would have them unto you.
Imagine being a young child getting lost at a grocery store, separated from your parents for a short time. Now, imagine that occurring abruptly, in a new place, for an indefinite amount of time. No child coming from a safe, loving family should have to endure that state of confusion, shock, fear, and uncertainty.
While informing the public is a large part of public health, another more efficient tactic is to act. The A in the STAR model stands for act, or to make a decision.
Now, there is a decision to make. Some potential options are to continue separating families and putting children in detention centers, to continue separating families but place the separated children in a supportive environment in order to allow them to continue to grow and develop, or to stop separating families and children. Based on analysis of the three tests and previous studies done on the effects of adverse childhood experiences, it would be best to keep families together to ensure the best possible health outcomes in the future.
Lastly, in order to see if you are successful, it is important to reflect. Consider the outcome, take responsibility, and adapt for the future. This will result in the best safety and health of the public.